Barbados, get up.
Good morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning to you. Good morning, morning Barbados, good morning. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Morning to you.
Good morning, Barbados. Good to have you in company on this Wednesday, October 23rd. Welcome to another Morning Barbados presentation. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. So I'm hoping you had a good night's rest and you are ready for all the day has to offer. All right. We have lots planned for you today. We're going to be doing a big review of the Miami Carnival. It's now been happening for 40 years. John Beckford is going to be joining us online from Miami to give us a review of how the 40th went, but most certainly we're going to reflect on the 40 years of the festival that celebrates Caribbean people and Caribbean culture and talk about how it went even though it was staged in the midst of a hurricane coming in that direction. So we'll talk more about that. Plus, we're talking men's health with Dr. Paul Rouse. He's in today. Prostate health is in focus. So get ready with your questions. Remember, you can join us online as well. And we encourage you to send in your questions to morningbarbados@cbc.bb. That's morning without the G. So if you have any questions that you'd like to share with anybody on the show, go ahead and drop us a line and we'll be sure to share your comments or ask your questions for you throughout the show. Also today, usually on Wednesdays, we have the Talking HR with Hermab segment. Today we're looking at retirement. So we definitely want to hone in on how you're preparing for retirement. And we're told it's never too early. So whether you're just entering the workforce, you're at the middle of your working career, or you're heading quickly toward the end, you definitely want to stick around for Cecilia Neblett-Brathwaite, who will be talking all the ins and outs about preparing for retirement. But we wanted to start by saluting one of our very own this morning. You heard earlier this week in the news that Anmar Goodridge-Boyce was awarded for his sports journalism. As a matter of fact, he's a sports reporter right here at CBC, so I'm sure you are familiar with that name. And he went over to the Caribbean Sports Media Awards. He won the Caribbean Sports Media Award as the finest in the Caribbean for representing in that particular field. So Anmar joins us now online when you should be at work already, sir. Good morning, Anmar. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Tish, and good morning to all of our listeners and viewers on Mornin Barbados.
All right. So I can only start with congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I want to get to know a little bit more about you. Oftentimes we work in the same space, but we don't necessarily know each other's stories. So how did you get started in sports journalism? What piqued your interest?
Well, I was always interested in sports from a very young age. Obviously, my dad, he lives in England, so whenever I would go to visit him, obviously football was an avid interest of mine, cricket as well as first a pastime here in Barbados. So I would say that from a very small age, I had an avid interest in sports. Attending the Alexandra School, it piqued my interest. Obviously, Alexandra would have produced a number of West Indies cricketers as well. So, in terms of getting into sports, that's where the love started. On finishing my secondary school education, I got an internship at Barbados Today Inc. This was back in 2015, where I spent a summer in their newsroom, more or less getting to know the ropes of journalism. On completion of that internship, I went on to the Barbados Community College, where I studied mass communication. And, this step-by-step process just continued from there. From the Barbados Community College, I went on to work at the Nation Publishing Company. I also did an internship in between there at CBC in 2016, and that was very enjoying as well. I happened to come in at the time where we were doing coverage of the Rio 2016 Olympics, and that's where I really got my feet wet, working alongside Mar Amory, Melissa, Damien, as well, just getting to know the ropes of sports journalism. And then from there, I continued my studies in terms of getting into media and journalism. So I went on to do a bachelor's degree in media and journalism. And from there, my career would say just really kicked on. I did get an opportunity through the Barbados Olympic Association to participate in the IOC Young Reporters Program. This was in 2018, where I traveled to Buenos Aires, Argentina. And that was really the start of my stint in terms of doing international work. Then in 2020, I went to the Lausanne Youth Olympic Games, Paris 2021. Well, those games were supposed to be the Paris 2020 games, obviously because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Those games were held in 2021. And then obviously this year, I reported on the Paris 2024 games for the Olympic Broadcasting Service.
That's a long list of accomplishments. So again, congrats. How does it feel to be acknowledged in this way by such a prestigious body?
Yeah, as I started feeling really, and you mentioned being recognized for my work. I was very surprised though that I won the award. I'll tell you this, Tish. Obviously, there's such good journalists throughout the region. And obviously I knew that I had a chance, obviously being a finalist, but to actually win, I think it speaks volumes to the level of journalism that we continue to produce here in Barbados, especially at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. I do say this all the time, and you would know it is a learning experience for me, transitioning into broadcast. While I did do my internship in 2016, I spent an extensive period of my career so far in the print, obviously working at Barbados Today and the Nation Publishing Company. So my transition into broadcast has been an exciting journey where I continue to grow and develop. And, I just see myself, continuing more as I go on in the profession.
You get a chance to cover so many events, as you mentioned, both at home and abroad. Are there any events that really stand out in your mind when you look across all of the events you've been able to cover throughout the years?
Yeah, Tish, obviously, I think it's any sports journalist's dream to cover the Olympic Games. And I was really wowed back in 2021 when I got that first opportunity to cover the Tokyo 2021 games. And, it really opened up my eye in terms of international broadcasting and international journalism. I mean, yeah, we do a great job here in Barbados, but this to me was going to another level, working with, some of the best sports news anchors, some of the best production teams, and then having the accessibility to interview some of the biggest names in the world, the likes of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, Marielyn Paulino, Armando Duplantis. These are just some of the names that I would have been rubbing shoulders with as of recent, Noah Lyles. So it really opened up my eyes in terms of, what sports journalism is on the global stage. And, I just hope that I can continue to go on step by step, continue learning and continue getting these massive opportunities.
That's beautiful. Now, you had an opportunity to travel to the Turks and Caicos for the awards ceremony. So talk to us a little bit about that and what it was like getting ready for them to announce the winner. We want to hear all of it.
Well, it was really an exciting weekend. Obviously, Turks and Caicos were preparing for the passage of Hurricane Oscar. So it was entertaining in that aspect as well. At one moment, I thought I was going to have to put on my news hat and give us a report, really. But no, seriously, in terms of the awards ceremony, I would say it was very well organized. The Caribbean Sports Media Award was the second award to be announced. So I sat there. I won't lie to you, Tish. I got a bit of nerves in my tummy before they announced the award. But, as they were announcing the accolades for the other nominees as well, I sat there and I said, Anmar, you've done a lot and you've achieved a lot. And I really thought then that I had a really good chance.
Good stuff. The BOA also won during that award ceremony. What was the feeling amongst the Barbados delegation?
Yeah, the atmosphere was great and buzzing. There were smiles all around at various tables, claps all around as well. I saw a sense of pride, significance in terms of Barbados being acknowledged through me, through the Barbados Olympic Association, as well as Steve Stoke, getting, an honorary award, for his lifetime service to, Olympism and, the Barbados Olympic Association, and doing so much for the various sports throughout the island and throughout the region as well, and also on the international stage. So I think the feeling of the atmosphere along in terms of the Barbados Olympic Association is one of immense pride for the country and the individuals who would have won awards as well. And, Barbados won 3, but there was also a mention in terms of nominations for the Barbados football under 14 national team as well, in terms of men's group teams as well. So, I think it speaks volumes. Philip Spoon as well, he was a nominee, and the Barbados Lottery as well. So I think it's a good feeling to know that Barbados had 5 finalists at the awards ceremony. I think it argues well for the country, and, helping to promote us as, an island doing well.
Anmar, where do you hope to take sports journalism in Barbados through your work and your involvement? You're a part of a new type of sports journalist who now has to grapple with AI and the movement of tech and some massive changes to the way things have been done. So what are your plans for the future?
Yeah, that's a great question, Tish. And what I would say is that for young journalists in Barbados, myself especially, I think we have to stick to the fundamentals, getting the facts right, being accurate in terms of our news reporting. You mentioned the fact that we now have to grapple with the likes of citizen journalism as well. Everyone has a phone, everyone, has accessibility to tablet and internet. So I think for us, it is about sticking to the fundamentals and the basics, the core principles of journalism. Yes, this is a changing age in terms of the technology. I think once we stick to, those fundamentals, we'll be all right in terms of, helping to continue what has been, a good legacy in terms of journalism. I have a lot of role models, Tish, the likes of, Andy Thornhill, Damien Bess, Tequila Lewis, Amory Burt, Mark Seal, Melissa Farley as well. All of these people would have helped to pave my way. And, I just want to continue to make them proud. That's the truth.
And you most certainly will. On the other side of things, we know you're a family man. You're young, but you are. So the family must be very, very excited as well.
Of course, Tish. My wife especially, I want to say a special thanks to her in terms of, the support system that she continues to do well for me in terms of journalism is harsh in terms of the hours that we put in, as you would know, as the production team would know. So I just want to say thanks to her in terms of being there, to support me, my mom as well, my dad, my entire family, really, my extensive family as well. Just being there, being able for me to pick up the phone and, speak to them when things aren't going right. I just want to say thanks to them for continuing to have my back.
And are there any changes that you'd like to see across the board when it comes to journalism? I'm happy you spoke about the changing face of the way we report journalism and the like. But for you personally, are there any changes that you'd like to see or maybe advocate for in journalism generally or sports specifically?
Yeah, Tish, I see myself going to the top, and I would like to see this here in Barbados as well. We do a fantastic job at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation in terms of making sure that, the Barbadian public is well informed in terms of all the information that they need. I do think that there's always room for improvement, rather. And of course, I would love to see, where we would continue to do more live reporting. I think that's an avid interest of mine. Obviously, we do have our various difficulties, but I think that is one area that I would like to see us do more in terms of more live reporting, more on the spot. And I think that would help, in terms of us being transitioning, and taking our product and our coverage, to a new level.
Well, you have great ideas. You've been awarded already, so congratulations to you for the work that you've put in. And, we saw that you definitely had it in you from the very beginning. Very hardworking and always on the move. So keep on going. Always very, very proud of you. Good work, Anmar.
Appreciate it, Tisha. And, just to go about mentioning too, I think it's very important too in terms of for young people, the environment. And I would say that I have a good environment at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. I walk around the corridors, as you would see all the time, and there's always a smile on my face. I'm always happy, and I feel like I can go around and I can talk to anyone in the corporation, share ideas. Even if I'm feeling down, there's always someone there, to help pick you up. And I think that plays an important part in terms of young people, not only in terms of journalism, not only in terms of our workspace, but in any environment. I think that goes a long way in terms of helping, our morale and helping to motivate us.
All right. So you're looking at the Caribbean Sports Media Award winner for 2024, Anmar Goodridge-Boyce. Cue the applause. Wonderful stuff. Congratulations to you. Great work.
Thank you so much, Tish.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. Always wonderful. We always celebrate exceptional youth, and he, of course, is no different because he belongs to the CBC. It's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. Well, the first break of the show is just about 22 minutes now after 6 o'clock. Stay with us. We have lots more coming up.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say, Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right. I hope you're having a good morning so far. We certainly are. It's always good to be up early. For years, they've told us the early bird catches the worm. I don't know about that. Let's break that down some more. Maybe we can talk about that. An entire program. The early bird catches the worm. Is that always the case? I don't know. I've been getting up all the time, bright and early, and I can't say I have any worms. I don't know. I don't think they meant it literally, or maybe they did for birds, not for people. All right. So 40 years, the Miami Carnival has been going on. We kind of previewed it last year, and we got John Beckford in here to tell us all about the celebration as he prepared for 2024. And we've managed to get him. He has been super busy putting on the 40th anniversary celebration of the Miami Carnival. So John Beckford, marketing director of the Carnival, is joining us again this morning to tell us all about how things went down. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be back.
All right. Does the early bird indeed catch the worm? Because you're up early too.
Yes, I'm your worm this morning. What can I tell you?
Good stuff. All right. So congratulations, first of all, on 40 years of Miami Carnival. For those people just tuning in who are not sure, give us a précis of how we've gotten to this place, spreading Caribbean culture, Caribbean music, sharing what we love to eat and do in a carnival, now 40 years on.
Yes, I mean, Miami Carnival is truly a cultural beacon. And, for 40 years here in South Florida, folks from all over the world come to Miami every October during Columbus Day weekend to really, celebrate the rich cultural diversity that Carnival offers. And so, it started out 40 years ago, the streets of 183rd and 7th Avenue, some guys that have passed on like Desmond Worrell, Alwyn Thomas, Selman Lewis, These are, mixed master. These are the guys that, kind of took a second mortgage on their homes and, took some of their savings to bring Miami Carnival to, to its fruition. And over the years, we've grown from strength to strength. Now we currently have 18 board members, and together we work towards producing these 4 signature events called Miami Carnivals. Kicks off with the Junior Carnival, and then we have Panorama and Juve, and then of course the big day, Carnival Sunday before Columbus Day. It's the parade and concert.
What does it mean to people in the diaspora to be able to participate in this way, to get a little taste of home all in one place for those who are, not able to come back home on a regular basis, especially?
You touched on it. I think that's a key, factor for a lot of revelers. We have a huge market coming out of the northeast corridor. New York, Boston, New Jersey, all up and down the East Coast. Folks that can't make it home for their respective carnivals. Whether you're from St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, Dominica, you can find your people here, folks that you might not have seen in a long time. When you come to Miami Carnival, you're going to buck up, friends and family, and it's just a wonderful time, to get together. And, one of the things that makes Miami Carnival kind of unique, of course, is the beaches. So for a lot of, folks in the diaspora that live north of Florida, where it gets very cold in the wintertime, and, snow and everything else, it's great to know that you can come down and, between Miami-Dade County and Broward County, you have over 60 miles of, beaches and nice warm, sea to dip into. So not only can you get the carnival, but you also get some of the island tastes as far as, the beaches are concerned.
It's true. I think people forget that because during the day, well, Miami weather is very different weather. It's not like our weather. I mean, our weather is becoming a little bit like Miami weather, but in the middle of the day, a thunderstorm and rain and then back to normal. We've seen a little bit of that here in the Caribbean, but definitely a little more chilly than we expect in the evening times, particularly if you're on the water, which is just about everywhere. So for this carnival, what was the approach? I mean, celebrating the 40th, I can see you have your branded shirt there, but what was the approach of the 18-member committee? I know that you must have wanted to celebrate it in grand style.
Well, of course, things were somewhat tempered due to Hurricane Milton. And my thoughts and, prayers collectively as a body, go out to the folks that were affected in the West Coast and the central part of Florida. Here in South Florida, we were spared. We were very thankful for that. But for a lot of folks, when they hear Hurricane Florida, they think it's the entire, peninsula, and it was not the case. But it still brought about some challenges, logistically. The parks and the venues that we utilized, shut down for a day and a half. It takes us 6 days to build out the Carnival Village. So, from a logistics standpoint, we lost some time, but in the end, we, once we got the green light and they're all clear, we double time to make sure that we were able to stage, the Junior Carnival, Panorama, Juve, and of course the big Carnival Day. And, we've been working with local agencies such as GEM, Global Empowerment, to help in the relief efforts. And so, the community has really, showed up, and it just shows the resilience that, Caribbean people on a whole, always display. When times get toughest, we rise.
I know what happens in the Caribbean when hurricanes are approaching, and we're not always doing the right thing. But how did that prep you guys for, what was coming? Do you feel as though the anniversary celebration all around was affected by the fact that a hurricane had just passed and another one was coming as you were getting ready for the celebrations. Were you making alternative plans? Were you forced to rethink what could possibly happen? Do you believe that it took away from people participating or coming out? What do you think was the effect of the hurricane on the carnival overall?
It changed the travel plans of many folks. We were down about 25% compared to last year, and we certainly can attribute that directly to the impact that the hurricane had. Folks in the central part of the state and the west coast, they may have been making plans to come to Miami Carnival, but because their property might have been affected in some manner, destroyed or what have you, they would have to stay behind to secure their property and belongings. So we did see that effect kind of take place across the board. But again, we were happy to roll up our sleeves and jump in and help, thanks to local aid relief. Even Marshall Montano, we received the keys to Miami, but he did take time out of his schedule to join the assembly line over at GEM. And, we were very proud to basically work shoulder to shoulder, with Marshall, putting together packages for the relief effort.
What are some of the proudest moments throughout the 40 years of the carnival? I know there have been some ups and downs, as there have been with many carnivals, even here in the Caribbean. So what are some of your proudest moments throughout the years?
I think one of our crowning achievements is coming out of COVID. We were the first major carnival, back in play. And, we worked very closely with the Miami-Dade County mayor, the chief medical officer, and all stakeholders to, bring about a carnival in a very safe environment. We had a complete medical triage, center that was set up to make sure everybody got tested. You could get tested at the mass camps, and then you were, wristbanded, showing that you were, CDC cleared. And it was a monumental task, but we did it. Folks from other carnivals, came, all, flew in to really see, what we did, how we did it, and, took back notes. And I think that's one of the, highlights, so to speak, of the ability of this board, in the toughest of times. We're able to, band together, switch, pivot, go to plan B, plan C, and at the end of the day, make sure that the continuity of our culture is preserved.
What do you feel this carnival has done for Caribbean entertainment, culture, arts, cuisine throughout these 40 years in terms of being able to introduce it to a whole new set of people?
Good, excellent question. Each year, we continue to grow stakeholder partnerships. This year, we had last year we had Barbados. We have a relationship with Trinidad and Tobago. We have a relationship with Antigua and Barbuda. USVI. Big up the USVI crew. But those entities, they put together an entertainment package, and so you have artists and DJs that are sponsored, to show up and perform, during the Miami Carnival season. And that gives, those partnering countries, those partnering stakeholders an opportunity to showcase not just their carnival, but also the destination. We're proud to see that, St. Lucia, they'll tell you that this year they added, I think it was about 14,000 seats the airlines collectively added. And that's as a result of, partly due to the fact that for the last 3 years, St. Lucia and the St. Lucia Tourism Authority, they've launched their carnival at Miami Carnival, again, along with, Barbados, Antigua, and Trinidad. And we're in talks now with Dominica to, do a similar thing for, 2025. So it's the kaleidoscope of talent that comes out of the Caribbean cannot be overlooked or underestimated. And during Miami Carnival, because folks know that, we attract people from all over the world. We work locally with the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau in Miami-Dade County and Visit Lauderdale in Broward County. And those are the local tourism, authorities that, do the geofencing. And out of the 100,000 people that, descend in the area, a good 33% of them are from out of the, United States. So it shows that you have a true melting pot of visitors from all over the world. And so if you're here as a stakeholder, as a partner, and as a sponsor, you get to speak to people from Norway, from Japan. 2 years ago, we had a visiting steel band for Panorama, YY. Germany, England, Canada, all over the USA. They're just folks that, come every year. They flock to Miami to immerse themselves. You talked about the food. Our carnival is a little different. At the end of the parade, we end in a park. And within that park footprint, we have a food court, with over 50 food vendors offering, plenty of things to eat. Whether you're looking for something from the Bahamas, Barbados, Jamaica, you dream it, and chances are you can find it to eat at that food court. And then we also have an arts and craft village, offering, everything that you can imagine that you normally might not see in a regular retail store. You can find it, in our arts and craft village. And then we have our corporate pavilion where we showcase our partners and sponsors, their goods and services. And, it's an opportunity for patrons to get, free stuff or to learn more about those goods and services. So it really is an entire full day of not just immersing yourself in the culture, but also the food and the beverages and so forth. It's really a great time. I'm not just saying that because it's me.
Listen, you didn't have to convince us, John. We saw those pictures. I mean, you say you're at work, but if that's work, hey, give me a job. I mean, the mark that we're making is even more evident in, as you mentioned earlier, Machel, for example, receiving the keys to the city. How did that kind of position the carnival for an even greater trajectory as we look toward the next 40 years? Having a soca icon like Masha Montano, so deeply rooted in carnival around the world, but working directly with you, being acknowledged in this way.
It is huge. Miami, I think you can go anywhere on the planet Earth and you say Miami, people know where that is. And here we are 40 years later for Miami and the city of Miami to recognize the king of soca and award him, with the prestigious, keys to the city. I think that speaks volumes. And, you don't have to be from Trinidad and Tobago to take, huge pride in that fact that Marshall Montano, received the keys to the city of Miami. And he also received the keys to the city of Lauderdale on the Friday during Panorama, because we had Panorama, Junior Carnival, and Juve are in the city of Lauderdale, which is also my hometown. But, big up to Desiree, our city manager, and the mayor, and the city commission. And again, so in both Lauderdale and the city of Miami, Marshall, picked up some keys to the city during the Miami Carnival weekend, this year. So that's huge. I mean, it really speaks volumes to see that the cities recognize the significance of, Caribbean people here and the Caribbean Americans here, in South Florida that now call, South Florida home, whether you live in Miami or you live in Fort Lauderdale.
And what part do you feel like the carnival has played in continuing or starting, as the case may be, that intergenerational conversation? Because a lot of people argue that by first generation, a lot of Caribbean people's children are so far removed from their culture back home. We're seeing kind of a shift in that regard, where the eyes of the world, and especially our children who are now born on foreign soil, more or less, are now squarely focused on what's happening in our Caribbean. So what role do you think Miami Carnival specifically, and indeed other carnivals across the world put on by Caribbean people, have played in keeping the Caribbean experience relevant for generations of Caribbean people?
Easy answer. It starts at the junior carnival. In some cities, they don't have a junior carnival. Thanks to TD Bank, our presenting sponsor of junior carnival for the last 9 years. We've been able to showcase kids from newborn all the way to 18 years old. And this year the city of Lauderdale really stepped up, and along with Visit Lauderdale, the tourism body. So now we have, officially it's TD Bank presents Miami Broward Junior Carnival in Lauderdale, and hosted by Visit Lauderdale. So those are huge strides. More importantly, what it does, it allows us to tap into the youth of today who will become the adults of tomorrow. And so there's that continuity, that building of the revelry and the celebration of the culture as we know it. Our kids, the members of the board, my daughter, my son, they played mass, when they were younger, and then they transitioned, to the adult side of it. So there's that continuity to make sure that the connectivity stays, and that the culture continues to prosper here in the United States.
Good stuff. John, do you play mass? Are you actually on the road, or are you claiming that you're too busy to get out and party?
I have to come to Barbados to play mass.
I see that you're...
we're all too busy working.
You ready for Barbados already? Are you coming now?
Oh, absolutely.
Has the flight been booked?
Absolutely.
That's the suitcase in the back?
I play mass in Trinidad. I play mass in Antigua. I play mass in St. Lucia. And, these destination partners that we have, at the end of the day, we always make sure that is our time to kind of enjoy. But while we're there, we also, make sure to, make notes and take stock of best practices. And then we bring that back to our camp and tweak, because we're always looking to, to learn. And then again, and also more importantly, in supporting these other carnivals, I always like to say, when the tide rises, it raises all ships, and so it's important for us to go out and showcase Miami Carnival at other carnivals, at other destinations, so that, the community, because it's a collective community, and I think you can agree with me that Carnival is now global. You have Carnival in Japan. I think there's a Carnival happening on planet Earth just about every weekend. On some corner of the Earth, there is a Carnival happening.
Well, when you get to Barbados,
that speaks
John,
volumes.
When you get to Barbados,
Yes.
just make sure you come in. Next time we talk to you, it has to be on the Morning Barbados set live.
And I'm bringing Jeffrey with me. I got to bring Jeffrey. Big up. Good morning, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, I'm telling you, he's my Barbados ambassador.
Jeffrey's amazing. I see bag packed in the background. Caribbean people are fairly nosy. So,
yes,
that's
I
for
am
Barbados?
ready to go. By way of Dominica. I am headed to the World Creole Music Festival. We'll have a footprint there. And it's going to be my first time experiencing the World Creole Festival in Dominica. So I look forward to that.
You will
and then
absolutely
we're
love
preparing
it.
for Dominica Carnival next year.
You'll love
yes,
it.
you promise?
Yeah. Great speaking with you, John. As always, congratulations on reaching this 40-year milestone. I know it has been no easy feat. There's no company or business or effort or initiative that reaches 40 years without grit and the passion and drive that you will have from your committee and the various people who would have spearheaded the initiative through the years. So we salute you for continuing to share Caribbean culture, Caribbean people, music and entertainment, and we look forward to another 40 years. Congrats.
Yes, thank you so much. And real quickly, I got to thank the sponsors, right? Miami-Dade County, the Greater Miami Convention Visitors Bureau, Lucian Carnival, Guinness, Ducano Kitchen, Caribbean, Monster Juice, Rita's, Fire 105, Jamaica Observer, Global FM, USVI Festivals, iHeartMedia and Caribbean American Passport, as well as the Caribbean National Weekly.
I'll send you the invoice. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
All righty. Thanks again, and keep up the good work.
All right, thank you. All right, we had to talk to them. 40 years celebrating the Caribbean. Absolutely love it. Miami Carnival, how about that? And of course, speaking of the Dominica World Creole Festival, it was back for the first time last year. And we sent a lucky winner and their guest over to that World Creole Music Festival. They had a fantastic time. So maybe that's something you can look into. I'm sure it's going to be exceptional again this time around. Just about 15 minutes to go before the 7 o'clock hour. We still have news coming up, but Mr. Blood is in the house as well. At some point in time, we're going to be talking to him about his concert. It's called Bloodline. Also, the HR Association of Barbados is going to be in. Through Miss Neblet, we're talking retirement. That's all coming up on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love cruise.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the community this Thursday.
Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's 6:49. I don't know if you have your cup of something good. I had to grab something today. I wasn't feeling all the way there. You know how it goes. Every day is not the same. So we should catch our next guest, Dr. Paul Rouse, who ran away from the studio today, but he has an early morning. So he's already in office, but he's agreed to join us virtually to share. Dr. Paul Rouse is a urologist. Of course, he's friend to the Morning Barbados show. Good morning to you, Dr. Rouse.
Good morning, Barbados. Thanks for having me again. I'm sorry I couldn't be in studio today. Unfortunately, I had to come in early to see a patient. So I'm looking forward to having a good discussion with you today. This week, I wanted to talk about the management of prostate cancer. Yes, it's a topic we keep circling back to all the time. But the reason why I wanted to discuss it today, again, more recently, I've seen quite a few patients presenting for a second opinion in terms of management of their prostate cancer. So I wanted to discuss that this morning with Barbados.
Absolutely, and that's good stuff. Let's start by talking about the incidence of prostate cancer in Barbados. Last report, it said that there's need for concern. Not that there wasn't before, but it certainly looks like the trajectory is going in the wrong direction.
Yes, the concern really was, unfortunately, I'm not sure if a lot of our viewers might know, but unfortunately Barbados has the distinction of being either, I can't remember whether it's the top one or the second highest rate from prostate cancer, which is really not good in this day and age where we, quite frankly, have a public health service and also to a certain extent reasonable access to healthcare privately. So that's not a good distinction to have. In terms of the incidence of prostate cancer, when we talk about the incidence of any disease or any disorder, we talk about per 100,000. So to put it in perspective, on average, probably throughout the world, you're looking at a rate of probably about 200 to 250 new cases per 100,000. So therefore, in Barbados, where we're just under about 300,000 persons, we'd be expecting to be picking up just under about 600 cases a year. When you look at other populations, if you look at sort of like the Asian population, they actually see a lot less cancer. They see less than prostate cancer, less than 200 per 100,000. And we've had some good studies from predominantly black populations like ourselves, especially from Jamaica, where they rate the incidence of prostate cancer as high as about 300 per 100,000. So you can see that we expect to find quite a bit of prostate cancer, and therefore that's why we can't shy away from this topic. We need to manage it appropriately. The good thing about prostate cancer, like a lot of cancers, once you catch it early, once you manage it appropriately, the risk of death from prostate cancer is quite low. If you look at the American figures, where they do a lot of surgery, a lot of radiotherapy for prostate cancer, their death rate from prostate cancer is less than 1 in 25 of those patients who are diagnosed with prostate cancer actually die from prostate cancer. Unfortunately, the usual thing that gets us all in the end, unfortunately, the old ticky-ticker, the heart gives out after a while. Unfortunately, here in Barbados, as I said, unfortunately, we, certainly my practice privately, I'm not too sure the extent of disease in the public sector, but I kind of see a bimodal distribution in the presentation of prostate cancer. I get men who present quite early with what we call localized disease, or disease that's just confined to the prostate gland, and that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. And unfortunately, I'm still seeing quite a lot of men who are presenting quite advanced, as Bajans would say, at stage 4, or when the disease has spread beyond the prostate gland, and it's in the bones, it's in the lymph glands, it's in the lungs, it's in other organs. So that has been my practice privately. It might vary according to for different doctors, and certainly probably in the public sector. But the real reason why I want to talk about this early is that's to hopefully reassure men that with adequate treatment, you can survive from prostate cancer. Unfortunately, we'll discuss the potential complications. And I really want to see that cohort of men who are presenting quite late with advanced disease, with metastatic disease or stage 4 disease. I want to see those numbers over the next few years drop, because really and truly, having the distinction of having one of the highest mortality rates from prostate cancer is really not what we want as medical professions.
Now, are we experiencing this? I'm not sure if there's empirical data to support, but are we seeing this change in men presenting far later or with far more advanced disease because they're not getting their necessary checks, or has the anatomy of the disease itself changed in this part of the world? Do we have any data to show us why this is happening?
Not specifically, but I don't think, I'm not aware of any studies that have looked at it specifically in our Caribbean population. But we do think there are obviously certain environmental factors that are involved with the higher incidence of prostate cancer. One, because populations are living older. Unfortunately, it's good that we're living older. Cancer is a disease of the elderly. Unfortunately, years of damage to the DNA or cells, then the development of prostate cancer. So as our life expectancy gets longer, as we expect to be living longer, I think right now our life expectancy in Barbados on average is about 76, 77. as that pushes closer to when you look at North American figures, or if you look at, I was in England quite a bit, their life expectancy in England is about 81, 82 years of age. So as we get more in line with other countries in terms of longevity, we will see that the incidence of prostate cancer will increase, or the prevalence of prostate cancer will increase, and therefore we need to be able to treat it appropriately. I do not think that specifically we're getting any worse cancer. I think the real problem is that men are not presenting early enough to get appropriate diagnosis and appropriate treatment. As I said, in my practice, again, this is my practice privately, is that I'm seeing either men presenting quite early because they're having their routine checks, they're having it's a mandatory for health insurance that you have these checks. So you see a lot of men presenting either early, or unfortunately, as I said, which is the real sad bit, a lot of men are presenting quite late when they come because of symptoms of prostate cancer. Just like any other cancer, when you become symptomatic because of cancer, it's usually, unfortunately, quite an advanced cancer. So I really want to pick you early. That's where I can intervene as a surgeon, or I can refer you over to one of my radiation colleagues, which we'll talk about shortly, in terms of appropriate treatment. You decide what treatment you have. A lot of men will be cured of their prostate cancer once they're treated early. Yes, unfortunately, a small proportion will get a recurrence of their cancer, but with appropriate management, the risk of death from prostate cancer is quite low.
Before we move into treatment, I want to talk about messaging a little bit, because I remember early on, quite a few years ago, we were talking about the importance of physical checks, the importance of getting in and getting your checks, particularly for men once they reach that 40, that age. That was kind of the magic number. And then the messaging switched a little, and we heard about the digital test. We heard about the PSA test, and they said that was sufficient to a point. So, where are we now in terms of research and studies, in terms of when men should start getting their necessary prostate checks?
You're quite correct. You should. Your prostate examination, just like a lot of other examinations for men and children, should be part of your routine annual check by your general practitioner, by your GP, which includes a lot of men don't like it, a digital rectal exam, as well as a PSA. The reason why I still like to do the digital rectal exam, or I think it's important, is because you have a small proportion of cancers, although it's quite small, account for probably less than 5% of prostate cancers that do not produce PSA, and hence the digital rectal exam still remains an important part of the assessment. But if men do not wish to have the digital rectal exam, the PSA is very good test. Nothing is 100%, is not perfect, is not accurate, but it's the best test we have currently available. We've been trying to find all sorts of other different markers, your PSMA, your prostate cancer antigen. There's various different PSA measures that you can look at. But for right now, PSA, the blood test, is the screening test that most men have. And you're correct, once you hit above the age of 40, I would encourage men that they should be having at least a PSA check, if not as well as a digital rectal exam by their general practitioner. Again, if you have a strong family history of prostate cancer or breast cancer, these are the two hormone-related cancers that we see a good correlation with, but also other cancers, colorectal cancer, any cancer history in your family, especially if it's what we call a first-degree relative, so a brother or father that's had prostate cancer, or if you had a sister or mother who's had breast cancer, and similarly colon cancer and these other cancers, you should be checked. You should be checked early. Roughly, would say if your relative was diagnosed at a particular age, usually your check should begin roughly about 10 years prior to their diagnosis. But certainly from the age of 40, all men should be having a PSA, at least a PSA check, and a digital rectal exam by their GP as part of their routine physical examination annually. A lot of the times the PSA will be low, it will be within normal limits, and you don't necessarily need to come to see a specialist like myself. Most of this can be handled at the primary care level by your general practitioner. Once your PSA is fine, once your rectal exam is okay, you're good for another year.
Now, if it is not, here's where we get to the approaches for the management of prostate cancer. And obviously, as you mentioned, there are different stages. We're looking specifically at the multidisciplinary approach and why it's important to take this approach. We'll have to just talk about the first part of this today and maybe continue the conversation when you're back. So just give us an overview of what having a multidisciplinary approach approach to the management of prostate cancer means to the treatment of the disease?
So you're being diagnosed with prostate cancer. Once it's confined to the prostate gland, what we call localized prostate cancer, then quite frankly, you have all the options. You have quite a few options available to you. And to help guide us in terms of the management of prostate cancer, localized prostate cancer, I was primarily in the UK, so I use a lot of the NICE guidelines where we look at low risk, intermediate, and high risk. But also you have the National Cancer Network guidelines out of America, which have low, intermediate risk, and high risk disease. And then that can further be subcategorized into very low and intermediate into favorable and unfavorable. These sort of discussions you would have initially with your urologist, who usually would have performed the biopsy, usually would have done the initial investigations to diagnose your prostate cancer. So, and again, I like to hamper this point with my patients is that having been diagnosed with prostate cancer is not a death sentence. Prostate cancer, fortunately, in most cases, is a very slow-growing cancer. It takes several months to years in terms of developing and spreading. So there's plenty of opportunities to cure you of your prostate cancer. So once you've been diagnosed with prostate cancer, you have localized disease, then as a surgeon, I will discuss with you about the surgical management of prostate cancer. And then I also very much encourage patients to then see also what we call a radiation oncologist, or this is a special doctor who deals with treatment of prostate cancer from a radiation point of view. Radiation can either be beamed in from outside, what we call external beam radiotherapy, and there are very different techniques as far as that's concerned. And then there's also brachytherapy, where we can place the little seeds in the prostate cancer that emit radiation and then kill the cancer cells in that way. But also sometimes although yes, you may have prostate cancer, when we look at the cancer cells under the microscope, they may not be as aggressive, they may not be very aggressive. And if your PSA is quite low, and we did a various staging investigations to confirm that's all confined to the prostate, sometimes we can just monitor you, what we call active surveillance, where we keep a very close eye on you. We know that this is the natural history or the natural progression of prostate cancer that takes a long time to play out. And sometimes by just monitoring patients, we can avoid the potential complications of surgery, avoid the potential complications of radiotherapy, maintain your quality of life, but at the same time keeping a close eye on you. Any signs that your cancer is getting more aggressive, any signs that your cancer may be progressing, then we can institute treatment, cure treatment in time. So as you can see, there are different many different physicians that can be involved in your care, and hence the multidisciplinary team approach. Now, directly
all right, well, we're going to leave it there for today, Dr. Rouse. You know, the time has grown slim, but I think the important thing for us to leave people with is, you know, once you hit 40, make sure you get those exams. If you have a diagnosis, that doesn't mean there has to be a negative outcome. There are options for you. Just make sure that you stay actively involved in taking care of it. So thank you. We definitely will continue the conversation next time you're here with us. But thank you for your time. Yes. Thanks for sharing with us. Do have a great day.
Most welcome. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning, Dr. Rouse. Lots for us to think about. It's just about 3 minutes after 7 o'clock. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
October 23rd, time for an update of the news. Government is moving to introduce a new program to help stem the rising tide of violence in schools. Confirmation of this from Minister in the Office of the Attorney General with responsibility for crime prevention, Corey Lane. He says his office is working alongside a number of ministries to identify and initiate necessary interventions for those children involved in conflict. And the minister stresses they have always been working with the Ministry of Education to arrest the upsurge of violence in schools, as prevention is always better than cure.
Actually, as a government, all the ministries were in synergy. As the Prime Minister has said from day one, we are in this together. So we would have submitted a number of recommendations to them. One of the major ones that I can talk about is CURB, which is really a clearinghouse. One of the things you would recognize is that a lot of young people who get in trouble as they reach that 16 to 25 age range, a number of teachers have indicated that we would have seen this down the road. So Barbados has really perfected the art of identifying the issue.
Government will be building out a new breakwater system using stronger, resilient material to mitigate the vagaries of hurricanes. Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Adrian Ford, says work on the system will be rolled out in the coming weeks. Mr. Ford made the disclosure while contributing to the Merchant Shipping Bill 2024, which was passed in the Lower House.
We have already passed the procurement stage where a contract was, as I speak, was awarded for purpose to use different resilient material, armor stones to build out the breakwater, because the reality is that we had the breakwater there that lasted 35 years.
Mr. Ford also revealed close to 80 boat owners have received 25% government grants to help repair the damaged vehicles, or vessels rather.
I want to report today, out of 149, I will repeat, damaged vessels, 78 persons have received the 25% grant given by government for the repairs based on the engineer's assessment.
But opposition leader Ralph Thorne has criticized government's offer of a grant of up to 25% of the cost for new boats or repairs.
This government must come to the fishing industry with a serious offer to save the industry. We have tried to do rough calculations as to how many people are out of work, literally out of work, Your Honor. 250, and these are conservative estimates, 250 fishermen.
An increase of staff as well as a multi-million-dollar upgrade in medical equipment is on the cards for the state-owned Queen Elizabeth Hospital. This from Chief Executive Officer Neil Clark, who notes while the hiring of additional hospital workers has been approved, proposals for the acquisition of medical equipment is also a done deal. He says it forms part of the key objectives of the 2025 to 2028 strategy for improving and expanding the services offered by the QEH. Mr. Clark made the disclosure during the QEH's radio show, the Pulse radio show on Q100.7 FM.
We've been approved additional staffing at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. 253 new staff have been approved and will be joining the hospital over the next 2 years. The majority of them will be joining it this year. And that's nearly 10% of our workforce. That's a significant increase in workforce, in clinical workforce, that will help deliver the service improvements that we want against the different specialties within the organisation. And in addition to that, we're moments away from getting the release of our capital expenditure funding, which allows us to buy equipment, much needed equipment for the different specialties. And that's going to the tune of $65 million of equipment to be purchased. Whoa. That's over 400 new pieces of equipment for the hospital.
Meanwhile, Director of Medical Services at the QEH, Anthony Harris, explains state-of-the-art imaging and monitoring equipment will be among the acquisitions.
That is going to require us to have more ventilators, more monitors, and will be able to deliver the oxygens and the medical gases to every bed at the hospital. So you will see quite a bit of those. We have already started, as you would have heard, to ensure that we have the latest in CT technology. We're also looking at the ability to have MRI in the hospital itself. So a lot of those imaging and modern technologies that make a hospital able to do better and better work will be coming to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
As we turn quickly to a peek at sports, a multi-million-dollar sports facility is in the pipeline for the Combermere School. A gift from the school's old scholars, the project was launched during the celebration of Combermere Week. CBC's Anne-Marie Burke, a Combermerean, reports.
To the tune of $6.2 million Barbados dollars, the Combermere School Old Scholars Association is embarking on a project to erect a multi-sport centre of excellence at the Waterford-based institution. The project, which was launched at the start of Combermere Week, is pinned on the vision of providing a sports centre of excellence that encompasses the school's sporting legacy, providing academic and learning spaces, and contributes to the overall development of sport at the community and national levels. Project coordinator Andrew Rollins alluded to some of the areas that will be of key focus.
Our vision is, first, to create a multi-sport complex where we can continue to build on the rich sporting legacy of the school. Second, to create a contemporary multi-sport complex suitable for hosting premier games, matches and events, both day and night. To accomplish this, we will make provision for lighting of the field. Third, to provide enhanced facilities for our players, officials, and spectators of all sports, including cricket, soccer, hockey, table tennis, chess, and track and field. Fourth, to create a high-performance center, sporting center, which inspires, develops, and motivates elite sports persons towards success and promotes health and wellness.
Set to stand on 6,000 square feet to the northwestern side of the Frank Worrell Field on the school grounds, its architectural design was created by a team led by Wayne Worrell. As mentioned, the facility will also be used as part of the teaching curriculum, and lead engineer Granville Phillips II explained that an element of the design will provide a practical scope to learning.
Normally, the engineering components of a building are hidden behind floor, wall, and ceiling finishes. We plan to make the building a demonstration project where parts of the structural skeleton and the electrical, mechanical, and plumbing networks are visible without compromising the aesthetic standard of the building. This should help teachers to explain and students to understand such building concepts. It is hoped that this will be a model of how school buildings should be designed in the Caribbean.
The existing pavilion is named in honor of cricket legend and Combermerean Sir Wes Hall, and the plan is for the new facility to also bear his name. Speaking on her father's behalf, Dr. Kerry Hall said he wishes to share that honor with others.
If there's one thing I say about my dad, he is the consummate, ultimate team player. He leaves no man behind, and he wants to share this facility with others. So that it will be named after several greats that he felt that would be most fitting, rather than just name it after him. Over his lifetime, he's received many, many honors, many magnanimous honors. But you can be rest assured that this honor of having this pavilion with his name on it, he will hold dearest to his heart, because it involves his beloved Combermere. To have this facility with his name, will be immortalized within the hallowed halls of this illustrious institution. is one of his greatest achievements.
The Commonwealth School Multi-Sport Centre of Excellence project is projected to begin next year. Anne-Marie Burke, CBC Sports.
I think that's the longest report Anne-Marie has ever done, and it's simply because it's about Carnival School. Good morning to you, Anne-Marie. Great reporting. A big shout out and good morning to those students who will be participating in swim sports for the secondary school students starting today. That is it for our update of news at this time. We have a full package coming your way at 12 noon here on CBC TV 8. Or if you're on the move, you can tune in to our radio stations, either Q100.7 FM or 98.1 The One. Inversely, you can listen in on 100.7 FM as well for the CBC News World at 1. It's 7:16. Do stay with us on Morning Barbados. We have lots more coming up.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. You know, it's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.vb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
All right, we're talking HR with Hermab, as we often do on Wednesday mornings. So we have to say good morning and welcome to Cecilia Neblett-Brathwaite, no stranger to Morning Barbados, but wearing the hat of the HR Association this morning. So welcome.
Good morning.
Always good to have you with us and looking gorgeous as always.
Thank you.
Singing the blues today she is. And, beautiful blues. Let's talk a little bit about understanding the value of nature versus nurture when it comes to the recruitment process. What are we talking about? Nature versus nurture.
Yes. Well, you recognize that the concept of human resources is quite complex. It concerns itself with all the elements of the organization, the recruitment, you look at marketing, you look at the finances. So nature and nurture is very important because obviously nature speaks to the biological aspect and nurture speaks to the environment. So we had an ex-CEO, her name is Ali, and she's an author, and she spoke to the spare room. Spare room, we can bring it down to the corporate level. For example, nature places itself in the corporation and nurture places itself with the boss. So the boss and the environment plays a dual role in understanding individuals and how we respond to certain stimuli.
Can we break it down a little bit more and maybe present a real life, real world situation of nature versus nurture in terms of the approach to recruiting? Is it about how you recruit the people you are, or is it about the criterion that you are looking to kind of check off when you recruit these people?
It is both. We always look at the academics and we look at the CV, but we would recognize the importance of family, as you just mentioned with your colleague who got the award. Family is very important. So we must understand the foundation of which that person is coming with to your organization. For example, you look at persons that are entrepreneurs, and why would they choose entrepreneurship, against working for someone? For example, the nature would be the entrepreneurship culture, and the nurture would be aversing risks and things like that. So we recognize it's very important in your interviewing process to just dive a little bit deeper to see, the person that you're dealing with.
I remember interviewing for a job. Has to be about definitely over 25 years ago, and in the second phase of the process, they gave me a personality test.
Yes.
I've not seen that in recent years. I don't know if it still obtains, but what role does this play in the recruitment process? I certainly have not heard of anyone who has talked about getting a personality test. I remember there being questions about whether I felt as though I was an introvert or extrovert, and then a little ways down the line, questions that would substantiate or refute whether you indeed were or weren't, things along those lines.
Simple questions like talking about family, certain questions like working extended hours, those things can bring triggers. Tell me about your family. Tell me about your background. Those things can show an employer, the kind of individual that you are hiring to see if this person has the personality traits that you want in your company, because your company already has a frame with the individuals that you hired previously. So we just want to make sure that you are a fit. You are adequate fit in this space. You're bringing certain values, certain personal values into the workspace, because we put on our good hat when we're going to an interview. We have our CVs at our side. And more than likely, it's very challenging to really understand the individual that you are hiring. So when you're looking at nature and nurture, you understand that we have the nature, the environment is already set, but we're looking at nurturing this person, if this person can be nurtured to play an integral part in your organization.
When we place these things at the recruitment process, aren't we setting up for a perfect case of discrimination in some instances? And I say that because you might be employing someone who comes from a place that might be labeled as a vulnerable community, for example. So what chance do you give this person who's coming from a particular place? And we know of instances in Barbados where we hear stories of people going to court and being saying, P for this place, P for this, and P for that, or where people have come from. Is that not setting up for discrimination across the board?
Question. It's not setting up for discrimination as long as you know, because obviously we have models, the behavior change model that we use. We look at contemplation, pre-contemplation, and there's relapse. Nothing is set in stone. We are individuals. Things would change. You would have outliers. You would have persons that don't always check all the boxes, but may check the boxes internally. For example, you have persons that might not score high. They may not get first-class honors, but they may be the hardest workers in the environment. Persons always big up these older secondary schools. I went to a private school and I always excelled. So you can't always think that a person who has not scored or checked the boxes initially, but because you have processes, understanding the limitations and the strengths, you're looking at the SWOT analysis of the individual. What are the benefits? You have threats, but how have you dealt with your threats? How have you dealt with understanding self, looking at self-examination? Tell me something that you encountered previously that contributed to a crisis in your life and how you overcame this crisis. These are the questions that we want to know in our interview.
Now, when we talk about nature versus nurture, what place do generational differences have in deciding which side you're kind of looking at? Because we hear now a lot about differences in Gen X and Gen Z and millennials, the alpha generation. How do these differences tie in to HR professionals looking at whether there's nature versus nurture at play?
We're looking at integrating all of them because they all have something to say. They all have a role to play. We're looking at the stories that will come about in the experience. So you want to hear your stories. You want to see the role that you play in our organization, because sometimes you might be hiring a person who's been working for, let's say, 40 years and they want to do something consultancy. We might be hiring a person who's been working for the first time. So can the intergenerational factor be managed with the skills of the HR officer? So we have to be able to recognize the strengths and the weaknesses, as I said before, with the SWOT analysis of each individual per segment of that person's life story. You know, we want to make sure that when we are hiring, we remove all the biases, but we recognize the strengths of the differences as well as they play. For example, we see persons going to court and persons are saying, oh, that young boy is a sweet young boy, you know, when he's all dressed up. But we need to understand, then when we look at the rap sheet, we say the person has 4 charges. So we need not to look at surface, we need to delve into that person's personality to see what we are getting and to see the benefits of this individual's probably challenges and the crises, because crises are not always negative. Sometimes they bring a lot to bear. And if I am hiring someone, I want to see how you overcame some of your challenges. And that can be a strength for my organization as well.
That's interesting. There's some people who are very persuasive communicators,
yes,
and they're truly able to trick the system.
Yes.
So how do you get past that in terms of hiring practices? When you screen, how do you get past those people who get past systems which are not foolproof, but that might be meant to maybe capture certain personality traits and be able to deal with them?
Well, HERMAP had a great conference dealing with AI. And I want to say is, although we are scared of this AI tool, we have to recognize that man designed AI. So we have to design our AI apps, and we have to design them with the understanding to get the information, the results that we want back from these apps. We have to make sure that persons are educated when we're looking at understanding these interviewing techniques. So when we're looking at these things, we have to make sure that the person has the skills, which should be the HR office. So we have to make sure they are trained, as HERMAP did in their conference, to understand these gaps that can come about when you are not skilled, because a person can come, look very nice, very beautiful, speak eloquently, and they may not be the perfect fit. So that is why we delve back into childhood challenges and traumas and past experiences, past crises, past challenges. Tell me about your last boss. Tell me the relationship you had at your office. Tell me what are some of the environmental problems. How did you exist with these challenges? I want to hear about your life. I don't want to see your nicely designed CV all the time. I want to hear about you. Tell me about you. Why should I choose you over the other individual? We're looking at the QEH just now. I was listening. They're talking about having improved customer service. To have an improved customer service, we have to do things differently. So I want to know about the individuals so that we can improve on our service to the external customer.
How do we convince people to share so much about their lives, though? Because I personally, maybe a younger person might be interested in doing that, but I most certainly would never go into a workspace and share wholeheartedly or full hog about the dysfunction in my family. I most certainly would not, because from my perspective, I would be thinking, well, I will never get this job.
Well, it's about questioning and it's about interviewing skills. That's why persons talk about square pegs in round holes. We all have our role to play, and everybody that sits in that chair is not a journalist. They're just asking questions. So that's why we need to employ these techniques. We need to, you know, if you're not trained, if you're not with the Human Resource Organization of Barbados, we need to come on board so that we can have training. We have persons that have skills, lots of experience. So we want to make sure that when we hire, because I always talk how important the Human Resource Officer is in an agency. I have a Human Resource Officer at the office, and look at the difference between nature and nurture. She's always bubbly, always smiling, always running through the corridor. Her office door is always open. You actually have to tag another member of staff to get into her office. And I was asking myself, she's young, and why is she so good at her job? Her father was an HR officer, so it's nature and nurture. She wanted to be an HR officer, but her father was so in her environment, she overheard things on the telephone. She saw the way he sacrificed for his workers. So these are all things that persons can bear into mind. And it's not always the HR officer. We all have parents who love their job. My dad is a police. He didn't have an HR office, but I remember those days where he's always coming home late. Were you home late, Daddy? Oh, I had a young gentleman at work. His mother has cancer. I had to go to the hospital with him. We have to extend ourselves if we want our workers to extend for us. It's a dual relationship.
And what role does well-being, what role does satisfaction, where do they come into play when we talk about nature versus nurture, that approach to really taking care of employees?
Well-being is very important. You recognize the Ministry of Labour, they have their 9 tiers, and mental health is one. We're looking at the environment. We're looking at good communication. We have a concept called, I think, the biophilic creation, where persons are designing their workspaces with green spaces. The Central Bank has the benches outside. The Ministry of People Empowerment has the benches there. You can have your lunch in a nice green space. Sagicor, we have places that are thinking about mental health and designing spaces internally and externally that we can have nature and we can also have nurture. We have to have the environment, and we are also encouraging bosses to be good communicators, to be active listeners, to be able to triangulate your methods, to be able to understand that because you hire a worker for a specific task and that person who wants to go on to another task, it doesn't mean that they have not. They probably have not satisfied. They're not satisfied with where they are, and they want to move on to a different place. We have to be open-minded. We have to be strategic. So we want to make sure that when we are looking at nature and nurture, we recognize you don't have to fight. It can be a good relationship because nature plays its part and nurture as well. There is some balance, and I think that the Human Resources Organization of Barbados does that very well because, we have me on the show. I'm not a human resource manager, but I'm on the show because I recognize the value of behavior change in the human resources element.
And Cecilia Neblett-Brathwaite is a behavior change specialist and business director of a behavior change business. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
As always, lots and lots for us to think about. When we think about HR is usually trouble.
Yes.
There's some white copies in HR. It means you're in trouble. Yes. I would know a thing or two about that. All right. Anyways, time for another break. Thank you, Cecilia.
Thank you for having me.
There's still lots more to come here on Morning Barbados. Do stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it. Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love crew.
When you love me just a little bit longer.
You get to relax and have a drink and listen to some nice music.
It's something different. It's spectacular. It's fabulous. It's a different feeling altogether.
I never feel so good in a party yet.
Follow me to Q in the Community this Thursday.
While you go about your business, we go about our...
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Redhead Records. They're taking on something new with Blood stepping out and having a concert called Bloodline. Guess who's joining us now? Mr. Blood himself, exclusively
Bon. Good
Morning Barbados. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
And also here with us is one of my co-hosts. I mean, after you appear on Morning Barbados in quick succession over a series of weeks, you have to be one of the co-hosts. Is of course Rico Bradshaw. He is acting as technical manager for the Bloodline show. So welcome back, Rico.
Yes, welcome. Thank you very much. Tuesday has been busy, very, very busy. So you'll see my face a lot.
All right, good. And listen, we're representing for the red.
That's right. Representing for the red shoes.
Yeah.
You got to, And it's Bloodline.
It's always good to see you. And, for those people, you're one of these people who through the years has really been able to continue to reinvent yourself.
Yes.
For those people who don't know where the bloodline comes from and what it means, let's start with young blood. That's where it started.
Yes.
And the name you got from being what used to be referred to early on is somebody who is new to the game.
Yes, that is correct. And that's exactly how the name came about. I met with Gabby. When I made the decision, I actually made the decision to get into Calypso and soca after listening to the mighty Gabby at the finals in 1982. After I made that decision, shortly after that, I went to something called Clapham Day. And as soon as I got to Clapham Day, as I turned into the gap, Gabby was walking down. And I was very, very shy at the time, but I got the courage to go up to him and I asked him about performing and whatnot, and he invited me to his house. And when I got to the house, I mean, all the big names were there, Mark Lord and this body and that body, everybody there in the living room, some on the floor, some on the chairs. And I started to sing because I had written 2 songs, and Gabby started to help me format the songs. Now, in that time, you had the cassette tape. So when Gabby recorded the songs and he took the tape out, he wrote this thing and gave me the tape back. When I got home, I saw the words, Young Blood. I said, this in my tape? Right? Give me the wrong tape. But then quickly, I processed it and I realized, well, he didn't remember my name and he just called me, like you said, Young Blood. And I liked it and I decided to keep it, hence why Gabby, is a part of the Bloodline, because he's going to be on the show as well. He started me out in this. Right after that, I was into the Richard Stout Teen Talent competition. So, we're going to have a really good show. So the Bloodline is basically all about, some of the people that I would have worked with over the years, older, newer, that kind of stuff. Some of the people I would have recorded over time as well with Redhead Records and Tone Deaf Studio. So we're going to have an interesting and fun time on Sunday at the Frank Collimer Hall for this concert.
Oh, that's beautiful. A lot of people don't recognize what goes behind the scenes. We were talking just yesterday about entertainment generally, and a lot of people see, even in broadcasting, they see the different people who's up front and singing, but it calls for an entire team, people who work for weeks, sometimes months, even years, to be able to put things on behind the scenes. So talk to us about the team working behind the scenes and how much it takes to be able to put on a concert of this caliber for a man like the Mr. Blood.
Actually, it was truly an honor. And actually, Merle, knows Emerald.
Good morning, Auntie Merle. She's watching because she's texting me.
Oh, okay. Emerald Entertainment. She's overseeing the full project. I was told that she would have had this vision to have this concert in Blood's honor, and she is the actual person that is leading the full team behind the scenes to make sure that we are fully ready for October the 27th. Blood and all the entertainers and stuff will be back by the unit band, and everybody is just coming together to ensure that someone like Blood himself, a legend, an icon, is definitely celebrated on Sunday.
That truly is beautiful, and we really can't move past this name. There can be no name that's more apt when we talk about you and your journey. When I think about Bloodline, I think ancestors.
Yes.
I think pedigree. I think descent. That's where you've come from. And that certainly is the case. You mentioned the mighty Gabby is going to be there. However, I also see Paula Hines.
That is
So
correct.
talk to me about the importance of having a mix that is truly representative of your journey in
Of
music.
my journey, yes, because actually I started in church as a young boy, you know, in the church choir. That
Who,
kind
you
of stuff.
blood?
Me, girl, you tell yourself things. Right, so you know, school choir, church choir. That's like right back there. St. Barnabas Church is where I was in the 9 o'clock church choir, and so you know, like in everything I do, I always try to give thanks, and I've got a whole set of friends who are gospel artists, and I decided to choose and go with Paula because, well, a couple of years back, it was during the COVID, I had watched Paula perform. Now, I had seen Paula perform before, but on that occasion, you know, Paula was performing, and I said to myself, let me approach this lady and offer to record her, you know, and she said, what? Sure, you know, Paula, right? She's a lot of fun and jovial, so she said, sure, just let me know when.
Great personality.
Oh my goodness, you know,
Great
she's got
personality.
personality, yes. And it didn't happen then, but, you know, a couple of years later, this year, we hooked up, and I think it was early February. I believe it was February, yes, because at that time, when we decided to do it, it was around Valentine's. So we recorded 2 songs at that time. We recorded Fly Me to the Moon, and we released it for Valentine's. And at the same time, right after that recording, we immediately recorded a Christmas song, right, which is I'll Be Home for Christmas. So we released that at the beginning of October this year. So, of course, you can listen out for Paula Hines and her Christmas song. So I decided to work with Paula, and because of her fantastic energy, and of course to bring some blessings, you know, to start the night off, you know, on the right foot.
Absolutely. When you think, Mr. Blood Rico, where does your mind go to first? What's the first stop on this bloodline?
Energy, honestly, energy, and a man full of compassion. And I have to go back to when I actually met Blood and getting to work with Blood, and that's during basically World last year. Artists that would have participated on the LR Entertainment, Blood was their mentor. So we work closely to ensure that every week they're on point, they're ready for their performance and so on. And I saw something in Blood that I also saw in myself. Blood is also in school at law school. I went to school at law school.
Yeah, so bring it up.
Everything was just a full connection.
Listen, he tried to show me the lodge bad now.
Everything was definitely a full connection. So I've grown to learn a lot about Blood that I did not know. And I even went back in preparing for Bloodline this weekend. I went back looking at old videos and his old performances and stuff. Even Young Blood when he would have done Sport Billy and stuff
with
like
the
that.
Jerry curls? Or as Majors used to say, with the jelly curls?
Yeah. So it was a fun experience having to sit down and really study the person that you're really working with, especially the journey, and then also hearing other people speak about how he is and how he is as a person, and he loves to help and ensure that a lot of things are run smoothly. And Blood himself is a man that plans events and stuff that I did not even know.
always smiling, always, you know, a great personality, always something positive to say. You're late to party, Rico. Sorry to tell you, because when you talk about the first time you engaged with Blood, you said last year. Come on, so,
I've always been a Blood fan, right? It's just I was able to get that hands-on approach last year.
Yeah,
for sure.
good stuff. Blood.
I can't let it go past because when I would have had to see something in Rico to keep Rico close to me.
Yeah.
Rico impressed me from the very onset with the way he was dealing and working with those youngsters and helping them, you know, along the way in Beige to the World. And he is multi-talented.
Yes.
You know, he's multi-talented.
Very much so.
And what's the word I'm looking for? committed. He's committed to what he wants to do, and everything gets done on time. You know, so and when you have someone like that in your corner, you don't let them go that
It's
easy,
true.
you know?
It's all about creating opportunities. So
Yeah.
it's wonderful that you're bringing along, young blood
Good fella. Good
to the
fella.
bloodline.
Yeah.
All right. So where can we get tickets? How much is it going to cost us to come out and see Mr. Bloods and the crew?
Well, at this point, all of the early bird tickets are gone. So the
early
tickets
bird?
were $80.
Did not get the worm. I talked about that earlier.
No. Oh, you thought about right. So you didn't get who didn't get those? Well, now you gotta settle for the worm that in the sunlight. You know? You get a little shriveled, you know. But $100 is the cost of the tickets now, and you can get them on ticketnation.bb online. Yeah. And of course, I'm glad you brought me to that, because Merle reminded me to mention that if you scan the barcode on the flyer, so the flyer is all over the place: WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, etc. You're bound to see that flyer somewhere. Scan it, and it will take you directly to the site. Of course, you can go to the outlets, and I don't know if you have the outlets on you. I will have to go on my phone and get them, but I know all Ticket Nation outlets. Yes. Oasis in 6 Roads. You might not forget my phone and look for this thing.
Blood, you already have it. Stop pretending like you're asking me for permission.
Yeah, I go out for permission, though.
As he has the phone in his hand.
Yeah, I got the phone in my hand, and I go out and find the right. So yeah. Oh, that's the wrong one. Yeah. But of course, you gotta thank the sponsors too, yes. Right? But so all of you've got a Nation, Fontabelle, Starcom, Ripper Road, CS Pharmacy on Broad Street, New Look Company, Roebuck Street, Empowered in Sky Mall, Trey Class Boutique in Sheraton Mall, A&B Music Supplies in Wildy, the Visual Oasis 6 Roads, I mentioned that, and of course at Codrington College office in St. John. So all over the island.
I know you're accustomed. I know, Blood, you're accustomed to radio, because he now does radio, right?
Right.
But this is TV. We put up pictures.
Right. Oh, yeah. You see it looking at the picture. I was a seeing the picture. Yeah, so of course, so you can put the sponsors to that.
Tell me about the people who are helping to make this possible. Of course, we love to shout out Corporate Barbados when they're really working to help our artists and entertainment generally.
So you've got Redhead Records Inc. That's,
That's you.
Those are the guys who just create the ads and do that kind of stuff, Of course.
And the jingle.
And the jingle.
The latest one are STDs.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, continue. Sorry.
Right. Emerald Entertainment 246, Z Graphics, Downs and Wilson Funeral Home, ICBL, we've got M Graphics, COB Cooperative Credit Union Limited, CBC 94.7, LR Entertainment, House of Osier, and I got a big up Beautify Me Hair Studio, because on Sunday when you see my hair looking beautiful, I got to shout out through the yard for.
He has an in-house hair designer, man. I'm selling out your business.
No, you sell it. Don't sell it out. Sell it. Don't sell it out. Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the highlights that you want to bring through with this concert? I see. We talked about Paula Hines. Of course, Mikey is going to be there.
Mikey is going to be there.
He was another major stop.
Yes.
Throughout this bloodline. Shaquan Smith, which is New Blood.
New Blood.
You would
right.
have,
I worked with him last year.
Yes, you would have mentored him. Betty B. Again, another stop along the way.
That's right.
Mighty Gabby at the beginning. And then you're incorporating some dancing as well.
Oh, yes, indeed. Dancing Africa. We have a really, really good working relationship with Keisha Emery Lewis as well. So she's going to be there along with the dancers. And, of course, you can look out for a spectacle. It is going to be a really, really good show. The only real problem I have with this show is that I had to really condense it so that it's not too long and that kind of stuff. But the kinds of things that I would really love to do, I'm telling you, it would take all night. We'd be there till Monday morning. But
I remember being a part of a show a few years ago where an international artist came to Barbados, and there was this show at the gymnasium, packed from front to back. and the man walks through the audience singing his ballad. And he is one of these people who is known for his voice, and he's singing and singing. And the man walks up to Blood in the audience and said, I wonder if this guy here can sing this song. No, I was involved with the planning and behind the scenes. So I knew it was not a plan.
Correct.
And this one here did not only get up and upstage the man on his own song, but he stood up on a chair.
Project himself.
Of course.
And the audience went
Crazy,
wild. And that is to say that when we think of Blood, oftentimes we go to soca music, but there's so many different sides to you.
Gosh, that's
Will we be
right.
seeing that for this show?
Of course, for this show you'll be seeing about 4 or 5 sides, you know. In fact, I remember, and I almost did that song. I remember when Square One did 4 sides in Frank Coleman Hall, you know, we did all sorts of music and whatnot. And it took me back to actually doing one of the songs, but I left it out because I said, nah, you know what, that might be a little bit too obvious. But I've got some jazz in there, you've got some ballads. I've got a showstopper that usually, sometimes if I'm doing a show and I gonna put that song like in the middle, I just gotta stop. I just gotta like drop the mic and go on home, because after that, that's it. Yeah? So it is a half of a show just get left off.
Yeah, a big part of it, like I told you,
So we've got it,
is
and
what's happening.
you're gonna get some spooge.
Some spooge as well? It's just a little bit of everything, man.
A little bit of everything.
In terms of what we can expect technically, you know, the technical things really complement what's happening with the voice and the other visuals, and that's all you, Rico.
Yes, for sure. Expect to see a world-class show, right? I get a lot of my inspiration by watching international shows and seeing what is out there in the market, looking at market, different trends and so on in terms of lighting and staging, and bring a vision to life. And having sit down with Merle and Blood and understand the vision that they have for Bloodline, you definitely will be in tune for a spectacular show, especially when it comes to the outfits. And Tisha, you know that for sure.
Listen, that was my next stop on this Bloodline, because Blood is also known for the way he dresses, for stage presence, for costuming, and I know that you are a master at these things as well.
For sure, so expect Blood and his team to be decked out, including the band and everybody involved. Kudos to myself and Lester, who've been working with Blood as well from
and that's
last
under
year.
House of Osier.
House of Osier, and then Welshware Bridal as well. So we've been doing some work.
All right, good stuff, Mr. Blood.
I can look good.
Listen,
for sure.
Well, listen, I don't know how you whittled down what you are going to perform. That must have been the real task.
That was
when
the
you
hardest part.
reflect on your discography, your body of work throughout the years, it must make you feel like a proud father.
Of course.
I mean, you are a proud father. Yes. 2 sons. Big age difference, selling out your behavior, all right now. But I mean, in terms of the work that you've been able to do, and incredibly so throughout the years. How were you able to whittle down what you're going to perform?
It was not easy, and sometimes you select a song to do that you think you should do and that you know, and then somebody, you know, you're taking a walk down the road and somebody say, wait, you're gonna sing so and so and so and so, so and you have to go back and start to read the thing. So it's, but I took a leaf out of Patrick Cobham, who used to manage Square One back in the day. Go with the bare essentials, right? And so that is what I decided to do. I'm going with the songs that I know for sure will make an impact. I won't be guessing. Once you hear a song, once you see the performance, you're going to, I could stand on stage and not move and just sing, or go backstage and sing, and you will enjoy the music that you're going to hear and the songs that you're going to hear. So that is what I had to go with first of all.
I believe that wholeheartedly. So your final word for people as to why they should come out and be a part of this show, Bloodline that is coming up this Sunday, October 27th, is happening at the Frank Cullimore Hall, 6 o'clock in the evening. $100 makes you a member.
That is correct. And that is, hey, $100 for the kind of entertainment that you are going to get on Sunday is chicken feed, right? That is your first and foremost, inspiration to come out.
Yeah.
Next, you're going to see a show like my man said.
On radio, he don't talk so slow, but he on TV now.
Are you on TV so that people can understand what I am saying? Well, that was the word.
Listen, I'm allowed to treat him bad because he's a part of the CBC family as well. We're colleagues in that way as well.
And of course, your next reason is that Tisha is going to be there. You want to see Tisha?
Congratulations, Mr. Blood.
Thank you so very much.
I'm so proud of you, man. And I feel really proud that I know somebody like you. Certainly grew up enjoying your music. Still do. I'm still a fan.
Yes,
and I often tell you that, even fretting you on the sidelines. And I know you're a fan as well. So make sure you get out and support Mr. Blood. This coming weekend, Frank Cullimore Hall, $100. The show is called Bloodline. It's going to feature a host of artists. I mean, just with him, it will be enough. But he's going to have some supporting acts for the cast, including many people from corporate Barbados who are supporting him, and the team working behind the scenes in Rico and Auntie Merle and everybody else. So we look forward to hearing more about it, but get your tickets. All right, time for another break on Morning Barbados. When we come back, we wrap today's presentation. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
While you go about your business, we go about our business, and that is gathering the news. Stay up to date at CBC News Barbados on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Get news update on radio throughout the day. And join us for the CBC News Night at 7 every night. CBC News team is on the job and bringing you the news.
There is a saying, you can find a Bajan anywhere. Are you a Bajan living abroad? Or do you know of one who has migrated to another country? Well, we at Mornin Barbados would love to have you or them on our Bajan Afar segment. Share your amazing stories, experiences, and how you have adapted to a new culture. Send us an email to morninbarbados@cbc.bb. And together we will travel the world.
From the beautiful shores of the gem of the Caribbean, Barbados, home of the amazing Harrison's Cave, the tantalizing Oystins Bay Garden, our historic garrison, the indigenous road tennis, and the friendliest people in the world. We are 94.7 FM, the ultimate Bajan experience.
My friend, you don't plan to get it? Oh, Barbados. Hey, I'm KB Clean. Join me 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. right here at 94.7, the best and ultimate Bajan experience. My show is called Bajan to the Bone. Don't miss it, Bajan to the Bone. Weekdays right here and only here on 94.7.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
We enjoy a game of dominoes and singing karaoke.
I just love
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you for spending the last 2 hours with us here on Morning Barbados, and thanks for tuning in every single day. I have to say a special good morning to Pat Ben, always locked on and always truly engaged in what's happening here on Morning Barbados. Indeed, to all of you, we look forward to spending some time again with you tomorrow when we'll be telling you all about breast health and breast cancer awareness as we continue that series with Dr. Dale Springer. It's still October, still Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Ministry of Youth, Sports and Community Empowerment have the I Am Conference 2024 coming up. It's a 3-day youth-focused and youth-led initiative. And the CAC Games are over, but the Barbadian contingent, they did very well. They're going to be in to tell us about it. We'll chat with some of the winners. Plus, we do a follow-up on Beijing Afar, whom we featured yesterday, Pamela Stanford. She gives us an update on her life in China. The Barbados Museum and the Circle Society, they're excited to bring an exhibition called Entangled Islands, Ireland and the Caribbean, and that's running from October through February of last year. We're going to update you on that too. So that and lots more is coming up tomorrow on Morning Barbados. Make sure you tune in. Most importantly, tell somebody else to tune in. Let's make this a truly Bajan family affair. Have a great day, people. See you, God willing, tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning.